Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union, joins me now from CPAC. Matt, welcome back to the show.
Great to be with you, Tracy.
So, Matt, tell me, what makes this year's CPAC different from years past?
Well, you know, the first thing that's obviously different is this is really the start of the presidential campaign. Come Saturday with the South Carolina primary, Americans will have a much clearer view of who that Democratic nominee is going to be. I think the second thing that is interesting about this CPAC, besides being the biggest we've sold out days ago, is the fact that conservatives and Republicans are basically joyful people. They think the president has done a great job implementing the agenda he ran on. They think the Republican Party, which most of these people are, but not all of them, as we're a nonprofit, they believe that the Republican Party is fighting back aggressively. And they're really, really worried. And our theme of this year's CPAC is America versus socialism. They are worried about America slipping into socialism.
Yeah, Matt, I was just going to ask you about that, the theme, why you chose America versus socialism. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, you know, we're seeing these Democratic candidates really be for some extreme things, post-birth abortion, really upending the Constitution, packing the Supreme Court, getting rid of the Electoral College, health insurance for people who come here illegally, decriminalizing coming to the country illegally, raising taxes, absconding with people's savings accounts. I mean, it's some pretty radical stuff. And I think for those of us who believe that the family is the building block for a healthy society and a growing economy, their positions on these questions of the family and religious freedom are very, very alarming. You know, socialism is not just an economic ism or mentality or philosophy. It's a whole new way of thinking about the individual. We believe as Christians that the individual is imbued with rights by God, not by government. And socialists just have a whole different view of who you get your rights from. And of course, they have a whole different view about whether there really even is a God.
I know we just talked about the shift more towards socialism in the Democratic Party. I know there are some that aren't on board with that shift, with those ideas and policies. Do you think that we'll see a return to more moderate Democrats, or do you think it's going to continue on that track?
Well, there are no moderate Democrats running for president. Every one of those Democratic presidential candidates have almost the exact same policy positions. It's just how fast you get to full-on socialism and whether or not you claim the mantle of socialism. But there's not a single candidate running for the Democratic nomination who wants to regulate abortions, any abortions. I just think that's a tragedy. How about even just making sure taxpayer funding doesn't go to pay for abortions? How about making sure our taxpayer dollars doesn't go to pay for abortions overseas? They're not for any of those policies. I think that's radical. I think that's antithetical to where the American people are.
Well, Matt, I know you mentioned, just shifting gears here for a minute, you mentioned there are a lot of people there this year. What's the mood among the folks at CPAC right now, and then going into the election?
Well, like I said, they're wary about the fact that one of the two major American parties could slip into socialism. But beyond that, they're joyful people. These are the happiest people. By the way, we have Mass every day at CPAC, which is a first. But these are people that are coming together to try to find like-minded people to work with, to make friendships with. Conservatives don't believe in safe places, but they do believe it's important to come together, have fellowship, and be proud of their country. And what I see when I go up and down the hallways of CPAC is a lot of happy Americans that just simply want to make sure their country doesn't slip into socialism.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it. Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Thanks again, Matt.
Thanks, Tracy.